Live, and then we'll put the verse. Okay, we're here. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Gurudev, all glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to Samud Vaishnava devotees. As usual, today we are here to discuss Bhagavatam, and we are fortunate to have Her Grace Srimati Radha Govinda Devi. Well, the easiest way I try to introduce her is she is the beloved half of His Grace Kuntiya Prabhu, the better half of Kuntiya Prabhu. And she's been on our platform for a couple more times, like 4 or 5 times. So she's really not new. She does a lot in terms of public outreach. And so we are very much happy and blessed to have the association once again. And Mother Radha Govinda, if you are ready, we'll put the verse on the screen and then you may start speaking. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukakaroti Vachalam Pangoram Gayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Mande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Nitinamine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaurakata Damadaya Nagara Grama Tarini Imam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We're reading from 2nd Canto, Chapter 2, Text 17. Nayatra kalo nimisham para prabhu kuto nu deva jagatamya ishare nayatra sattvam narajastamascha navai vikaro namahan pradhana. Nayatra kalo nimisham para prabhu kuto nu deva jagatamya ishare nayatra sattvam narajastamascha Navai vikaro namahan pradhana. Nayatra kalo nimisham para prabhu kuto nu deva jagatamya ishire nayatra sattvam narajastamascha navai vikaro namahan pradhana. Word by word translation, if you like to repeat. Na, not. Yatra, wherein. Kalaha, destructive time. Animisham, of the heavenly demigods. Paraha, superior. Prabhuhu, controller. Kutaha, where there is. Nu, certainly. Devaha, the demigods. Jagatam, the mundane creatures. Ye, those. Ishire, rules. Na, not. Yatra, therein. Sattvam, mundane goodness. Na, nor. Rajaha, mundane passion. Tamaha, mundane ignorance. Cha, also. Na, nor. Vai, certainly. Vikaraha, transformation. Na, nor. Mahan, the material causal ocean. Pradhanam, material nature. Translation. In that transcendental state of labdo pashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures. And what to speak of the demigods themselves? Nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor the material nature. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. Devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods by its manifestation of past, present, and future, does not act on the transcendental plane. The influence of time is exhibited by the symptoms of birth, death, old age, and disease. And these four principles of material conditions are present everywhere in any part of the material cosmos, up to the planet Brahmaloka, where the duration of life of the inhabitants appears to us to be fabulous. Insurmountable time even brings about the death of Brahma. What to speak of other demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Vayu, and Varuna? The astronomical influence directed by the different demigods over mundane creatures is also conspicuous by its absence. In material existence, the living entities are afraid of satanic influence. But for a devotee on the transcendental plane, there is no such fear at all. The living entities change their material bodies in different shapes and forms under the influence of the different modes of material nature. But in the transcendental state, the devotee is gunatita, or above the material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Thus, the false ego of I am the Lord of all I survey does not arise there. In the material world, the false ego of the living being trying to control it over the material nature is something like the moths falling into a blazing fire. The moth is captivated by the glaring beauty of the fire, and when he comes to enjoy it, the blazing fire consumes him. In the transcendental state, the living being is pure in his consciousness, and as such, he has no false ego to lord it over the material nature. Rather, his pure consciousness directs him to surrender unto the Supreme Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. All this indicates that in the transcendental state, there is neither material creation nor the causal ocean of material nature. The above-mentioned state of affairs is factual on the transcendental plane, but is factually revealed in a transcendentalist's knowledge of the advanced state of pure consciousness. Such transcendentalists are of two types, namely the impersonalists and the devotees. For the impersonalist, the ultimate goal or destination is the Brahma Jyoti of the spiritual sky. But for the devotees, the ultimate goal is the Vaikuntha planets. The devotees experience the above-mentioned state of affairs by attainment of spiritual forms for activities in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. But the impersonalist, because of his neglecting the association of the Lord, does not develop a spiritual body for spiritual activity, but remains a spiritual spark only, merged in the effulgent spiritual rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is the full-fledged form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. But the formless Brahma Jyoti is simply eternity and knowledge. The Vaikuntha planets are also forms of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. And therefore, the devotees of the Lord who are admitted into the abode of the Lord also get bodies of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As such, there is no difference between one and another. The Lord's abode, name, fame, entourage, etc., are of the same transcendental quality. And how this transcendental quality differs from the material world is explained herewith in this verse. In the Bhagavad Gita, 3 principal subjects have been explained by Lord Sri Krishna, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. One can reach the Vaikuntha planets by the practice of Bhakti Yoga only. The other two are incompetent in helping one reach the Vaikuntha lokas. Although they can, however, conveniently take one to the effulgent Brahmajyoti as described above. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we leave this purport on the page. I want to go to the first paragraph of the purport. Okay. So I pray to their lordships to help me to be an instrument so I can deliver the message the Lord empowers me today. And we can all pray for the openness and willingness to see what the Lord has to teach us, our sweet, sweet Lord, what he has to teach us today through this beautiful purport. Through this purport, what I get is this point about faith. And while growing up, I remember when I used to play outside, and I used to, of course, there's a lot of this rajas, tamas when you're playing games. And my grandfather would come and say, while you're playing these games, why don't you recite the names of Krishna? Why don't you sing bhajans as you're playing? Why don't you use certain names of Krishna instead of all this? I don't remember what we would say. We would do this, something, we would sing some song. And he would say, why don't you just sing the Lord's names? Because, even the games will become a devotional activity. So this really stuck to me so deeply, this samskara. When we're children, what we're given with certain principles really helps us for the rest of our life. And okay, I'm going to open the purport for me in there because, okay, I have it here. So thank you. Okay, so the influence of the material world, it is very strong, okay? The material conditioning, who we are with, who we talk to, is very, very strong in how it influences us. And this one principle that my grandfather said, the material conditions will always be there. You will always have to be engaged in some sort of material games or material studies, but always try to put Krishna in the center. Always try to understand that none of these things are going to help you in long term. None of these things is your long-term investment. Basically, now I realized growing up that what my grandfather was trying to say is more important than your action is your bhava, is your emotion, is your feeling towards Krishna. You could be playing a stupid, silly game with your friends, but if you can actually put Krishna there and sing his names instead of just saying, I can't remember all those silly things we would say, but he made me replace that with singing something like Bhagyada Lakshmi Baramma instead of some other random song, which is like glorification of Srimati Radharani. My dear Radharani, please come, something like that. So I'm very grateful to this kind of, let's say, early seeds of essential principles. Not everybody growing in the community of Vaishnavas that I was, it's not that everybody were thinking in that sense of bhava. And recently I've been meditating very much on the point that we are not kriyatmakas. Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it's not about kriya, it's not about action. Kriyatmakas are people that are centered on what kind of activity I do and what that activity is going to give me as a result and what the result is going to lead me to. So everything is based on action, and your progress or your digression is based on your action. But we are bhavatmakas. We're not kriyatmakas. So we progress not based on our actions. We progress based on our emotions. So the emotion with which we invest our heart, our mind, is what is going to determine if we are progressing or digressing. So in this purport, Prabhupada is speaking about how, basically he's speaking about all the astrological characters, astronomical influences, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, and we can say the Saturn, the Rahu. And in Africa, there is very much about, the influence of the devil, and then there is all the black magic, right? There's a lot of fear that surrounds us. A lot of people are afraid. Oh my God, Saturn period is coming. What's going to happen to me? I'm dead. I'm finished. So in bhava, in our emotions, we are placing that particular fear we have as superior to Krishna. See? So this is a very important thing for us to look within. Nobody can tell us who we are giving power to. Nobody can tell us that, oh, you're afraid of this. Only we will know. Krishna knows and we know. We know deep inside, am I giving more importance to the fears or am I giving more importance to Krishna? And sometimes we think our sin is so great that we give power to that guilt and shame, and we are rotting in this world, but we don't realize how God is greater than our sin. And he has his love is greater than our sin. And he has the ability to Nama Sankirtane Anudina Malpage Naraka Bayagalunte Nama Vande Yaman Alkalan Wadedu Ajamilanige Sukshema Vanitanta. There's this personality called Ajamil. So he was actually trained as a Brahmana, but he slipped and fell into bad habits. So when he fell into bad habits, he almost forgot Krishna. He neglected his duties and he took to a very sinful life. And what was the potency of the holy name is all the sins that he could commit. By the way, when I'm talking about his sin, let's actually look back at Ajamil. He was actually belonging to a respectable family. He had very devotional parents. He was married to a very chaste woman. And what he essentially did was he left that woman and then he went with another woman and he stuck to that woman for decades. Now, in today's day and age, there is more sins than Ajamil. So what Ajamil did is very small in comparison with today's sinful people and their actions of leaving relationships because it's not giving us sense gratification and trying to find enjoyment elsewhere. Very important point about Ajamil is that it doesn't matter what is our past. It just doesn't matter what it was 1 minute ago. But if we want Krishna to take over our life now, we hand it over to Krishna. My dear Krishna, take the chariot of my life. You please take it. So Ajamil, although he was so sinful, because of those samskaras, in your good time, if you invest in the right things, when you're in a good mood, be there for devotees, do charity, go and do service, invest that mood of being in service, invest that mood in gratitude. If we do that like Ajamil, there will be benediction, there will be mercy, and we will be able to remember Krishna. Even if we don't remember Krishna, Krishna will remember us. So this is the greatness of Ajamil. And I have been noticing like a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, a lot of my relatives, I'm seeing this pattern, like they're continuing from previous life. Like one of these kids was like, some astrologer said that this kid was a politician in previous life. And we're able to see that that kid is so clever, so manipulative. This kid is like, just like 8 years old. And the kid just knows how to manipulate everybody in school, everybody at home, everybody in the neighborhood, and just knows how to like be that politician who just gets what he wants from everybody. And we can actually see that it's not from this life, some continuation from previous life. And this lifetime, the mother was saying, maybe he should become a politician. I said, no, why again another lifetime wasted? Give him Bhagavatam, give him Krishna consciousness, let him be of service to Srila Prabhupada, let him cut these manipulative tendencies and engage himself in Sankirtan. So here we are seeing where Prabhupada is speaking about fears. One of the fears, why we fear the material world, why we fear all the consequences of this world is because our tendency to want to enjoy separately from Krishna. As long as I'm planning my self-will, I want this and I want that, and I want things to go this way, I want relationship to go this way, I want to marry at this age, and I want to have kids this way, and I want the kids to be in this way. Everything is about control. When there's control, there's fear. Why? Because there's a fear of losing control. But when we understand something very important, that Prabhupada is speaking here, Jivantargata Jivaniyamaka Jiva Vilakshana Jivanada Jivadharaka Jiva Rupa Rajiva Bhavajanaka Jiveshwara Dasoham Tavadasoham. When we understand that Krishna, he is Paramatma sitting in your heart, in the lotus of your heart. No matter if you're born as a worm in the stool, you're born as a donkey, you're born as a monkey, you're born as a, you're born in America, you're born in Africa, you're born in India, it doesn't matter. Krishna is inside every living entity. And he's the one who's giving us that inspiration to follow spiritual life. So my dear friend, there is no control. There is no control even for Indra and Chandra and Vayu and all the demigods. Even they don't have control because they have death. So anything that has death cannot be in control. What to speak of as infallible, insignificant souls. What is the significance? Our significance is that we are connected to Guru Parampara. We are connected to our gurus. We are connected to Srila Prabhupada. That's our significance. Everything else is insignificant. So when we attach our sense of identity as a living entity, when we attach to our Guru Parampara, our significance is great. You're a precious child of Krishna. And you don't have to crawl before anybody. You don't have to bow down before anybody. You don't have to run after anybody. All you need to do is be dignified, have that self-respect that I belong to Krishna. And I'm not going to do those things which will cause me fear. And by understanding this, there are 3 points. One is that I belong to Krishna and Krishna belongs to me. I belong to Krishna. Say that as many times as you want. All these other affirmations are not so important, but this point, I am Krishna's. Krishna doesn't create junk, you see. Krishna always creates wonderful, valuable things, and you're created by Krishna. So when you realize I belong to Krishna, Rajiva Bhava Janashaka Jiveshwara, my Lord is Krishna, my Lord and Master is Krishna. And therefore, yes, I may have my karma, I may have my nonsense, I may have my baggage of so many lifetimes of simple desires and samskaras. But Krishna is the power. Kalantargata Kala Niyamaka Kalatita Trikalagnya Kala Pravartaka Kala Nivartaka Kalotpadaka Kala Murti Tavadasoham. Your only duty is to become the servant of that Lord who is not only the controller of the Jiva, but he's also the controller of time. For him, time is like that. See, there's a difference between speed and rush. For this human mind, in Kali Yuga, Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagya Upadrita, SRIMAD Bhagavatam says we are dull-minded, we are lame, we are lazy, we don't understand things. And for us, we are always in a rush. We are in a rush to get married, rush to end up in a job, rush to give up something, rush to get to India. Everything is rushed for us. But God, our Krishna is the God of speed. Okay, when he kills the demons, it's at speed of light. Speed of light, he kills Putana. Speed of light, he kills Trinavarta. Speed of light, he killed so many demons. Okay, at the same time, in our lives, we still doubt. We still doubt, why is Krishna not working immediately? Why the rush of mine is not met by Krishna? My dear friends, it's because Krishna is not a god of rush. He's a god of speed. He made Pandavas wait for 13 long years to fight for justice. Who do we think we are that he should act in the rush that we are in? Let's trust his speed. He is called the Kalotpadaka Kala Murti. He is the deity of time. Time I am, he says in the Gita. So let us put our faith in him and act in ways, or whatever you're doing. Krishna says in the Gita, Yat karoshi yadashnashi yadjuhoshi dadashyat yat tapassasvi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever games you play, whatever it is, as a children, the games I'm talking about, whatever we do, let us do it as an offering to the Lord. Let's put Krishna in the center. Let's give up that control, let go, and let Govinda. May life be as Govinda wants. May he be the boatman. May he be the chariot driver. This is where we will find fearlessness. And Krishna, he is the controller of Jiva. He is the controller of Kala, he's the controller of karma. And what's the solution? These are the two problems, right? Even karma krita agama karma palaprada karma jita karma bandamaha karma vimochaka karma nigraha karma nashaka. Karma can be destroyed by Krishna. We don't want this game of good karma, bad karma. See, we all have good and bad. And when we are enjoying life, we are reducing this good karma, basically. And people are always asking, when is my good time coming? When is my good time coming? It's basically like saying, when am I going to finish all the money that I have? And whenever we are struggling, suffering, making sacrifices, doing things that we don't really like, we're giving ourselves to others, we're feeling uncomfortable, but it's reducing our bad karma. So this game of good karma and bad karma, Krishna has the ability to destroy that bad karma like that. Why are you individually putting efforts to enjoy and avoid suffering? The debts and the enjoyments of this world is not for us. Create something which is based on spiritual eternity, like we're reading today in that purport. We are Satchit Ananda. We're full. We are already. Let me just read that statement here. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlava. So we are already so fortunate. Out of thousands and thousands and millions of people, somehow or another you are being given with Krishna consciousness. It's not ordinary. The Lord has bestowed you with great benediction. So we know that we've been going towards light like a moth, being attracted to fire. We've been burnt again and again, lifetime after lifetime. Yesu kayangala kaledu 84 laksha jiva rashi ennu dati banda ee sharira. I've gone through so many lifetimes, so many families, so many disappointments, so much business, so much profit, so much losses. I've done it, been there. It's not given me that fulfillment. This one life dedicated to Krishna. And that's the real spiritual world. See, the spiritual world is not about a destination. It's not a geographical location. I put my leg here and it's spiritual world, and this leg here is a material world. It's the state of consciousness with which we do things. So the transcendental plane that Prabhupada is talking about is right within you. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. So keeping that in our heart, let us welcome the Lord to enter our hearts and to destroy this ignorance. And how to destroy that ignorance? We take shelter of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, because SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM is that light which destroys the ignorance. So with that, I will end the talk here. And if you have any comments or questions, let us delve into it.
Thank you so much, Mother Radha Govinda Devi Das. I am lost of words, and I'm really never lack of words, but I'm very much intrigued by the presentation. Very powerful, straight, and applicable. I believe most of us can ascertain to what you just shared with us. And I will go to the devotees. Please, if anyone has a question or something to say, you may indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to speak. It's very interesting. Yesterday's class, one of the main themes that were discussed was manipulating the mind, using the intelligence to manipulate the mind. And today you were also talking about this same manipulation. We're always trying to manipulate material nature, oftentimes without putting Krishna in the center. And you were saying, actually quoting from Bhagavad Gita, how special some of us are to come to the level of accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still, sometimes, even as fortunate as we are as devotees of Krishna, we sometimes go against Krishna's desires, Krishna's instructions that we know very clearly. Like maybe Krishna says that we should not disobey the orders of the spiritual master. But sometimes, knowingly, we disobey the orders of the spiritual master. So in effect, my question is, what brings about this this situation in a devotee's life that even though he knows what is to be done, he still is unable to do what is to be done? What causes that? Hare Krishna. You are muted, Radha Devi.
Thank you, bro. Very relevant question. And I face the similar dilemmas in life, wondering what on earth caused me to do that? Why can't I just surrender to the Lord? You know, just today, my friend Taruni Radha, she was speaking about, you see, I have Balaji deity here, and look at his hand. He's like that. He's not like this. Usually deities are in the blessing mode. And he's in this mode. And we were discussing how that means take shelter of my feet, surrender to me, you know, don't loiter around and be rotting in this material world, trying to look for substitutes. What you're looking for is right here. Come, I'm going to give you that soothing shelter. You know, that's what is the Lord's message here. And yet we are this rebellious soul. I mean, I don't know how many of you have children, teenagers. So if you look at your teenager child, the enthusiasm they have to, you know, like self-will, they know what they want in life, they know how to get it. All the older people don't know anything and they know it, right? You have experience with some teenagers. So that's the mentality of a rebellious soul. So the rebellion, the Shastras describe us that because of envy, in the spiritual world, or even to study Srimad Bhagavatam, we need to be paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Okay, Vedyam Vastavam Atravastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam. So to even understand Srimad Bhagavatam, to touch Srimad Bhagavatam, to be benefited by Srimad Bhagavatam, one needs to be non-envious. And when we are able to distinguish reality from illusion, which Bhagavatam teaches us, we become qualified to enter the spiritual world. You know, Prabhuji, your question reminds me of Parikshit. When he is asking Shukadeva Goswami similar questions, okay, he's basically asking why the mind does not cooperate in the purpose of life, why the mind wants to just do nonsense. So the answer to that question is also, one of the rishis says, you know, when Shukadeva Goswami is trying to explain to Parikshit Maharaj about the nature of this material world, the reason for this material world, why the Lord created the material world in the first place is because we are not qualified to be in the spiritual world. We got envious even of Krishna. We're not qualified to be there. So Krishna is a good father. He gives us toys to play with. He sends us into this false world. He gives us a husband, gives the wife, gives the money, and makes us, you know, trains us to understand the temporariness of all these toys that we have, because we have that mentality of wanting to lord it over material nature. We want to control. So Krishna says, like a father would tell a child, oh, you want to control? Okay, here you go. You have this car and you have this train. You are the car driver. You are the train driver. Go enjoy it, right? That's what a father tells. So the Lord is very, very merciful, you see. See, our Lord Krishna, he's Partha Sarathi. He doesn't have insecurity complex. He doesn't have any problem to become a chariot driver for Arjuna, who's his friend. He doesn't have any problem with that. He's not in a rush, as I told you earlier. Our God is not God of rushing. He's a God of speed. No wonder Krishna is full speed when he acts on it. But he doesn't rush. So what is happening is, we are looking at life, oh my God, if I don't get married now, I'll never get married. I have to be in this relationship. So we rush and jump into situations. So we are afraid. Okay, I don't know how many of you, probably most of you come from a Christian background. There is a Christian mentality of Christian thinking is like punitive God. God will punish you if you don't do A, B, and C. There's a thinking that God will reject you. But the Vaishnava Siddhanta, the point of the incarnation of Nitai Gaura Chandra is the very fact that proves that God is incapable just of one thing. You know what that is? He's incapable of rejecting you. He will always give you a chance. But we are such fools and rascals, as Srila Prabhupada says, that we do not understand the purpose of why we're being put in this material world with so many people deceased, just like us. I'm going on complaining why other people are not giving me happiness. Everybody's sick, but I don't realize that I am also sick. So what Krishna does, he's very clever. He's a sweet father, but he's very clever. So he puts us in this world with people who are all sick. We are sick, and like sandpaper, we are like purifying each other through our imperfections, through our character defect, through our anarthas. So we may wonder, why did God create? Why did he put us in this world with no doctor and all patients around us? Because the Lord knows that the disease is the only way that you're going to get cured from the disease. So the bhava roga, we don't need to be in rush. Krishna has all the time in the world. He's waiting for us since eternity. He is not in a rush. He's got all the time of the universe. Time I am, he says in Gita. So he's got all the time. He can wait around for us. So his work is not in one lifetime, one episode. Is not we look at, oh, this episode of my life, this chapter of my life, right? But Krishna is looking at us with different episodes from different lifetime, and he's saying, previous life, he wanted to be a politician, gave him a chance. He went there, he wasn't happy. This lifetime, I'm going to give him a little better situation. Same mentality will continue, the same patterns will be there, but let's see. I give the free will. Let them use that free will. And I didn't sing the last part of that song. This is from one of our Vaishnava acharyas. It's called, his name was Jagannatha Vittala. And in that part, the problem part is the Jiva's envy, Jiva's pride, Jiva's tendency to want to enjoy separately from Krishna. And the bridge, which is actually keeping us away, is Kala and Karma, and Kala and Karma. And then there is the aspect of dharma, which is our duty towards Krishna. Like I was telling about Balaji saying your duty is to surrender. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Why are you running around looking for substitute? My dear child, I'm here. Why are you running around like a pauper? Why are you rotting in this world? Come here. And then the solution he gives, the Jagannatha Vittala, this is the solution he says, mantra yantra maha mantra bija maha mantra raja guru mantra tava mantra meya maha mantra maurya maha mantra deva Jagannatha Vittala tava dasoham dasoham tava dasoham dasoham. So the cure, what you're telling, the problem of rebelliousness, the cure is mantra, because mantra helps us control our mind. Mantra helps us direct our energies towards the Lord, asking the Lord to come and take over, take control of our life. In the 11th canto, when Krishna and Uddhava have a conversation, they have a very interesting conversation. For those of you who wondered, why did Krishna let the Pandavas lose the army and all that questions, please go and study that canto because it's fascinating. So just to summarize it, basically Krishna tells Uddhava, I didn't want to interfere with the free will of Yudhishthira or Bhima or Arjuna. I was waiting, Krishna says, I was waiting at the door that they're going to call me. Because Uddhava says, how didn't you not go and help them? You're supposed to be Anatha Rakshaka, Apat Bandhava. You're supposed to be the shelter of orphans. You're supposed to be the shelter of those people who are doomed and everybody is rejected. And they are your friend. Why didn't you help them? Krishna says, I was waiting at the door. I was waiting at the door. Yudhishthira will call me. So sometimes we are gambling away, Prabhu. We're gambling away our energy, our senses, our determination into some very trivial pursuits, thinking that I'm going to feed my soul. And instead we are selling our soul, like Prabhupada is saying in that purport. So my answer would be, we can understand that this is not an easy task. Great rishis, great sages, great kings also fell down and had weaknesses. That is not the problem. The problem is more the control. The problem is to think that I can control my life. I can control other people. Okay, this is the problem. And the solution, like I said, is to keep taking shelter of the Lord with our bhava, with our emotions. It's not how much devotional service we do, but with what mood we do. So be patient, forgive yourself, forgive the other sick people around you. Sometimes I think when I'm really hurt by people, I'm actually trying to visualize them in hospital clothes. Like imagine somebody's just about to go into a surgery. Somebody's hurting you, you're disappointed in life by somebody. I just visualize that person in hospital clothes and I'm like, that person is really sick and I shouldn't take it personally. So we don't have to react and go down to their level. We can say, Krishna, please give me the strength to do your will. Okay, so the point is not how fast we progress and how much rush we are in to not make mistakes. The point is to be open to the Lord's plans. Is that helpful? If it's confusing you more, it's a good sign.
No, it's very, very, very helpful. The only thing is that it led me to another question, and that is, as you rightly explained, Krishna is our all in all. And we are fortunate to have come to this level in this lifetime that we are attempting to serve Krishna. In the purport, Prabhupada was saying we do not have to go to anybody, no demigods, no Indra, no Varuna, nobody,
Right.
Krishna. And you were saying Krishna was asked, why didn't you help your beloved one? You distressed. Krishna says, I was waiting for them. Like you said, we should read Canto 11, beautiful Leela there. Now, the question I have is, what should the devotee do? Because sometimes the devotee even cries up to Krishna. But Krishna, because he is Krishna, he cannot be forced to do what he is not prepared to do. He does things in his own way. And some situations are like very, very dire situations that one would want to have a response to his prayers immediately. But Krishna probably is not ready to respond to the prayers immediately. Now, what advice do you give to a devotee in such a situation where he needs Krishna's intervention just right there and then, but Krishna does not show up because we cannot make him do what we want him to do. He does what he wants to do. But for the devotee, what should be the mood? What should be the mindset to remain loyal and have the faith in Krishna that ultimately Krishna is going to help me. Krishna is going to bail me out. How does the devotee position himself or herself in that understanding that Krishna is Krishna, nothing is impossible. So if even he did not respond to me now, he may respond to me tomorrow.
Okay. I see iPhone, the baby there. What's the baby's name?
Unmute.
Unmute, please.
Vani Bhakti.
Vani Bhakti, Haribol, Hare Krishna. So I'll give you an example. Let's say Vani Bhakti is a struggle, okay? Because it's as important as our struggle too. And Mataji, what's your name?
Ashtanga Yoga.
Ashtanga Yoga. Wow. Okay. Jai. Nice to meet both of you. So I want to ask you a question. Does Vani already eat by herself?
Not quite.
Okay. So that's the struggle. Okay. She is a toddler. You give her a bowl of food. You give her a spoon. We could do a demo, actually, honestly. If you give her, she's going to probably take the spoon and wave it on the food, or stick the spoon inside the food. Stick the spoon inside the food and maybe try to put her mouth on the other side of the spoon and expect that the food will go inside. Okay?
Yeah.
Am I right, Ashtanga Devi?
Yes,
That's
that's exactly what she does.
So we do the same exact thing in our life. If you compare the analogy of us trying to reach out to that nourishment, that connection, that bhakti, that shelter that we want, we sometimes wave the spoon over the food. We try to stick it in and say, Krishna, why are you not responding? Where are you? Are you lost somewhere? The truth is, we are lost. We are learning to still eat. And there is nothing wrong in it. Okay, there is nothing wrong. Like now, Ashtanga Yoga Devi is not going to interfere in that process. And she shouldn't, rightly so, she shouldn't. Because it's Vani's process of figuring out how to get that nourishment and how to use the spoon in the right way to feed that food that is in front of her in the bowl and put it in the mouth. She's going to try to do it in 100 wrong ways. Okay, she's going to spread the food all over the table, and she's going to throw things around, and she's going to try in so many ways. Now, if Ashtanga Yoga is a good mother, she's not going to every time go and correct. She's going to let the child learn on its own, because she knows that when you let the child learn on her own, that lesson will stay. Similarly, Krishna is such a loving father. He's such a good trainer. He's not going to interfere in our process of learning. We want shortcuts. We want to immediately get what we want. We are in this, our brain is manda sumanda matayo. We are dull, we are lazy, we are lame, and we are weak-minded. But then we want God to act with speed, to cater our needs. So we treat Krishna like a ATM machine. We give him a list and say, Om Jai Jagadish Hare, give me a house by the sea in Togo. So we have our shopping list for Krishna, right? And we're talking about we are bhavatmakas and not kriyatmakas. There's a bhajan that came to my mind in that context. It says, Beduvaro sukhava rangaya nina, Beduvaro sukhava. Beduvaro sukha, bedaro kashtava, madalari arida kupayava. Beduvaro sukhava. Salu salemmeya solade tollevaro, sali gramake nirereyaro jana, beduvaro sukhava. So it's speaking about the unintelligent people of this world who go to the Supreme Lord and they don't know how to pray. They go and pray, please remove all the problems and give me happiness. But they do not understand that pain and problems are actually helpful. It's meant to get us out of this world. Imagine, okay? Now, as Vani is still young, she doesn't know what is the nature of fire. If she was going to be putting her finger in an electric plug point, and Ashtanga is busy listening to Sri Radha Govinda giving Bhagavatam class online, right? And if it doesn't hurt her, if the finger doesn't hurt, immediately, it's very bad if the finger doesn't hurt, because the fire can burn. But as soon as it hurts, she'll take her finger out. As soon as there's a little tinge of electricity, she'll take it out. Is the pain good? Oh, very good, I'm telling you. It just saved her life. Similarly, my dear friends, when we are in pain, let's remember that's Krishna's way of telling us, don't go that way. That direction is not going to serve your purpose. It's not what you want. It's not what you need. That direction is not going to provide you what you want, because we're looking for substitutes. So the point is, we want Krishna to immediately intervene. But are we even sure what we need? No. So the problem is, Prabhuji, the summary is, we do not know how to pray. That's the problem. That's why we're supposed to pray according to the acharyas. We're supposed to follow Srimad Bhagavatam. We're supposed to follow our acharyas, Rupa Goswami. We're supposed to follow Srila Prabhupada, so that we know what to pray. We pray to the Lord, please, no, help me to be an instrument in your hands. We pray to the Lord, give me the strength to do your will, my Lord. We don't go and say, Krishna, I am telling, again, controller mentality. I am going to tell Krishna what to do. It's not, it's not that. Krishna can, like I said, he doesn't have insecurity complex. During the Mahabharata war, Arjuna, when he was driving the chariot, when you are the chariot driver and there is your person you're driving, the person who's driving cannot scream at you and tell you go left, go right. They actually kick you left to go left, kick you right to go right. So Krishna is such a secure person. He's such a strong person. He doesn't have false sense of superiority complex, or nor does he have inferiority complex. He's not going to say, hey, I'm the man here. I'm the supreme here. You can't do this. He doesn't have that. So the point is, yes, sometimes akama sarvakamo va moksha kama udharadi, better to go to Krishna with material desires than to go to some other demigod who is temporary themselves. Definitely, okay? But at the same time, if we don't want to waste, we don't want to go to the president of the country and ask, give me $10, right? We go and ask for the right thing. We say, my dear Krishna, I want to be part of your mission. Empower me. Because if you want to be part of the mission and he's going to empower you, he's going to remove all difficulties in such a way that it will inspire other people to look at your life and say, this person is dealing with difficulty so well, I want to follow it. So ask for something intelligent. So the point is, we need to learn how to pray, and we need to learn from acharyas. We need to learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. We need to study Srimad Bhagavatam to be able to absorb what should be our prayer. And we should be able to willingly, instead of, I learned this, okay, a few years ago. Instead of going and telling the Lord, give me that, give me this, I go and say, my dear Krishna, please take away all my character defects. Every time I'm angry with somebody, I'm not going to say, please punish that person. I'm actually going to say, please bless that person and please take away my character defects. Because my character defect is what is making me suffer. So we pray intelligently so we don't have to keep repeating the cycle again and again and again and again. Okay, is that helpful? Any other comments, questions? You can also always chat in the you can always put it in the chat box if you don't want to unmute.
Yeah, very, very helpful. And I'm actually proud of myself today because the answer you gave to my question is the thought and the feeling I've been having for a very long time. So thank you for making my thought viable.
Be kind to yourself.
Well, thank you. The word is, if anyone has something to say, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and go ahead to speak. The word is. Hare Krishna, Shri Govinda Prabhu. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Sri Sadeh Prabhu. Tanava Pranam. All glory to Gurudev, all glory to Prabhupada. All glories to Mataji. My obeisances to you, and my obeisances to all the devotees. Thank you very much, Mata, for this wonderful classic class. Thank you. Mata, unfortunately, I missed most of your lectures, but I have a question. My question is that, what does it mean? What does it mean for one to surrender to the Guru? When you say one has surrendered to the Guru, what does it mean?
Very good question. It's a very relevant question. Now, Surrender is a word that can be defined in different ways. Okay. One of the definition of surrender is acceptance. To not want your life to be different, to not want to defy the orders of the spiritual master. No, acceptance. One word is acceptance. And surrender also means gratitude. Grateful that Krishna has given us this opportunity, and to be, to find that shelter. Surrender to what? Surrender to everything Krishna has given us and being grateful. Okay, yes, it's such a misunderstood question. Sometimes we say, if you listen to me, then you're surrendered to Krishna. If you don't listen to me, you're not surrendered to Krishna, right? We misuse this very much. But surrender essentially means acceptance of who you are, acceptance of how people are, acceptance of the lessons in your life, acceptance not to be in denial. Because the only person that can trick you and cheat you to keep rotting in this material world is your mind. So when we say surrender, means we accept the fact that my mind is not reliable, and I'm going to surrender it to Krishna and tell my mind everything is exactly as it is supposed to be, because Krishna is in control. Surrender means to let Krishna in every single decision of ours, in every single emotion of ours, to let Krishna in. That's what Yudhishthira Maharaj, in that 11th canto, Krishna says, I was waiting that Yudhishthira is going to call me. I was waiting at the door. Then Yudhishthira lost Bhima, lost Arjuna. And Krishna says, I was waiting at the door that maybe Bhima will call me, maybe Arjuna will call me. But actually, Bhima and Arjuna were cursing Duryodhana. They were blaming everybody in the assembly. They were blaming Dhritarashtra. They were blaming Bhishma. They were blaming Drona. I was waiting at the door. They're going to call me, but they didn't call me. He says that. So sometimes it's that simple thing. Surrender means I have no control over this situation. I cannot fix it. That's surrender. I need Krishna. I am powerless. Like earlier, Prabhu was asking the question, what do I do when my mind doesn't want to follow and wants to rebel and I'm doing things that are not favorable for me? That's the best time to surrender, to know that I cannot control. I am not in control. So that's surrender. Okay, very simple understanding. It's not some technical thing there. It's about accept yourself for who you are, accept for where you are in your life. Let Krishna in.
Yes, I asked this question because, Mata, you see, I have my individual self, and I'm trying to give myself to the spiritual master. My understanding is that when one accepts a spiritual master, means that one has sold himself or have sold his or her freedom to the spiritual master. One has given himself to the spiritual master to be to direct his life. Ultimately, the spiritual master will have to lead us to the spiritual world. And so giving myself to the spiritual master means that whatever I told that he asked me to do is what I have to do. But at the same time, I also have my individuality. I have my individual preferences. So, for instance, I want to worship Lord Damodara. That is my individual preference. And my Guru Maharaj said, no, don't worship Damodara, but worship Lord Chaitanya. What do I do? I'm in the middle. And I call myself a surrendered soul to the spiritual master. I want to worship Damodara. And Guru Dev said, no, worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What to do at this point for a person who has surrendered to the spiritual master?
Your question is very relevant to today's purport as well in this context. Okay, first of all, I want to give you an analogy. Say I have a house in Nigeria and it's a beautiful house and it has a pool and I've lived there for 20 years and I want to sell it. So let's say I sell the house to somebody and I give the keys. This is the keys of the house. Here you go. I give the keys. So once the house is sold and the keys are given, the house belongs to the person who bought it. It's not mine anymore, right? So it's a similar concept when it comes to Guru and Krishna. I give myself to Krishna. I've sold myself to Krishna. I told Krishna, the pool may be broken, the water in the shower may not be working, the kitchen sink may be blocked. It doesn't matter. It now belongs to Krishna. Acceptance. Okay. You don't start thinking, oh, but you know what? I sold the house, but I remember that there's a carpet in that room, which under the carpet, one of those tiles was broken. I think I should go back and fix. You don't think like that. The house is sold. The key is given. The place now belongs to who you gave to. You're not going to fix that place anymore. It doesn't belong to you anymore. Okay. So giving the house is an analogy about us giving our will, our life over to Krishna and Guru, which means the things that we do are not in our control, or whatever is broken is also, it belongs to them. So I mean, this is a very high level of thinking. Even earlier we were asking, what do I do? If you don't belong to yourself and you actually belong to Krishna, the problem is not yours anymore. It's Krishna's problem. Okay. There's a song, okay. It speaks about a deal between Krishna. It's a bhajan. It's about a deal between Krishna and you. So the song something like, Yanagu ane ranga ninagu ane yanagu ninagu yibbarigu nina bhaktarane tanu manadana vanchakanadare yanage ane ranga laukikavani bidisadiddare ninage ane. This is a very amazing song that redefines your relationship with Krishna, okay? It says, if with my body, with my mind, and with my soul, I betray, then it's my part of the contract that I broke, okay? I'm responsible. But if you don't make me give up my material desires, then it's your part of the contract that you broke, and you're responsible for it. Okay, so there is a deal. You understand? Once we sell the house, the deal is that you don't go back and fix the stuff. It's the person who bought the house that hits his problem now. So we do not shame ourselves, blame ourselves, get into fear, get into anger. We don't do those things because Krishna's got it. Krishna is taking care of it. That's surrender. So talking about things like, I mean, you reminded me of Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta was a great devotee of Mahaprabhu. And he used to even write down diary of Mahaprabhu. He did amazing service for Mahaprabhu. But one time, maybe as a pastime Leela, Mahaprabhu told Murari Gupta that he's supposed to meditate on Krishna. And Murari Gupta couldn't do it, because he was so attached to Lord Ram, because he's Hanuman. Murari Gupta is Hanuman. They come again and again in different incarnations. So he was just unable to give up worshipping Ram. Okay, so your question brings up this story into my mind, that it's not mutually exclusive. Guru is a representative of Krishna, and Damodar is representative also of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is representative of Damodar. So it's not that you have to do one or the other. Like Murari Gupta, his heart, his soul was completely sold to Lord Ram. He was not going to compromise on it. But let me also tell you, the same Mahaprabhu, he showed himself that he is Ram. Okay, that's Sadguj Bhagavan here. He's Rama, he's Krishna, and he's Gauranga. Okay, Jai Gaur say Krishna, say Jagannath. Jagannath is Gaura, he's Krishna. Balaji is Krishna. So, Prabhuji, when we have this kind of dilemmas, we need to rise up to the occasion. We need to grow up a little bit to see our situation, to see our mood, to see the instruction all in harmony. Not to try to see things black and white, okay? But to try to see things as like, wow, this is a Leela of Krishna. My Guru said this. How, like for example, I'll tell you a very personal story of mine. I was very attached to Balaji, okay, like super. I grew up in my childhood going to Balaji temple. He's everything to me. Like Balaji is my In the morning when I wake up, I do Govinda and I look at my hand and I look at Balaji's face, right? That's for me. And when I came to Mayapur, I was devastated because there's no Balaji deity here. It was so hard for me. Like that was the hardest thing for me to leave South India, because in South India, there are so many Balaji deities. And he did so many miracles in my life. Again, Krishna is always doing miracles. Sometimes we notice, sometimes we don't, but he's always doing it. Let me clarify that. So the point was, I remember I came to Mayapur and I was standing in front of Nrsingadev one day. I was closing my eyes and I was just praying, and I opened my eyes and I saw Balaji. And I immediately was like, oh my God, so Nrsinga is Balaji. So it was like, the moment, it's not that I don't know theoretically, okay? Theory, we all know everything is Krishna, but there's nothing wrong in your feeling and there's nothing wrong in your guru's instruction. They are harmonious. They are not mutually exclusive. It's not one or the other. So Nrsinga is Balaji. Balaji is Nrsinga. So I call him father, okay? I have the fatherly relation. I call him dear father. So when I go to Nrsinga, it's got transferred. It's like, he's the father. So there is that mood. There is that bhava. So Krishna sees that in you. So it's not a conflict. It's not at all a conflict. It's all about relationship. There is, like sometimes we are closer to our uncles or aunties than our parents sometimes, right? Sometimes you're closer to Shiksha Gurus than Diksha Gurus. In fact, our Sampradaya is very much Shiksha line. We have many like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta. There's a lot of Shiksha lines that are very, very strong for us. So it's about relationship. It's not about authority based on rules and regulations. It's authority based on rasa. It's based on relationships. So talk to your guru. I mean, if your guru is alive, of course. And if your guru is not alive, pray to him and ask him, my dear Gurudev, you gave me this instruction and sometimes I have this conflict. How do I reconcile? How do I harmonize these two statements? Bhagavatam is full of contradictory statements. You understand? There's so many contradictory things there. Demon and demoniac, we hear it all the time. Demons are in the mode of ignorance, right? And the mode of rajas is not greatly glorified. And then the greatest devotee of the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is who? A demon child, Prahlad. There goes the contradiction. So Bhagavatam is full of contradictions, but it's an apparently contradictory situation. What you're expressing is apparently contradictory. It's not contradictory. So just like I was saying, like Vritrasura also. No, he's glorified as a great devotee. And he was Asura. I'm not talking only about Prahlad. I'm talking about Vritrasura as well. There's so many Asuras who are glorified greatly in Srimad Bhagavatam, and you may scratch your head and say, excuse me, wait a minute, is Srimad Bhagavatam glorifying demons, or is it actually saying demoniac is bad? Where is the reconciliation? So there are many statements like that. I mean, so many apparently contradictory things can be found, but we need to be clever. Vedanta Sutra says tattu samanvayat, which means we need to have enough brains to be able to reconcile apparently contradictory statements and find the truth. Otherwise, we become a movement of cannibals. We throw Prabhupada quotes at each other, snowball fight. Prabhupada said this, here you go. And then you say, no, Prabhupada said this, my quote is better than your quote. Right? So then it becomes instructions also becomes like that. But your guru said this and you're not doing, and therefore you're fallen. And then the other side of you says, come on, I have my own feelings to worship this deity, and I don't know. So talk to your Guru Maharaj, pray about this to Krishna. It's not about black and white, okay? Krishna consciousness is a very broad concept of spiritual advancement. It's not black and white. And there are so many Vaikuntha planets. Some are Ram devotees, some are Nrsinga devotees, some are Chaitanya devotees. So there's a place for everyone. So there is no contradiction. And yeah, Guru means Krishna. Guru means Krishna. That doesn't mean that Guru will never make a mistake. You understand? They're also human. It's not that they never are in pain. They take on our karma. You understand? Sometimes they can also become overwhelmed because, we give them a lot of trouble. So be nice to your gurus and explain to them the situation. Don't treat them like machines. They are also human beings who have their own challenges. When it says in the Nectar of Devotion that somebody who controlling the urges, right? It says controls the urges. A guru is a person who can control the urges. It doesn't say is a person who doesn't have urges. It doesn't say somebody who never gets angry, never gets any sex desire. It doesn't say they don't have. It says they control it. Okay, so there is a lot of effort going there to control. It's not easy to be a guru or a teacher. So don't take them out of context. You can have a conversation with them. It's about relationship. Instructions are about relationships.
All right, thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
I also remembered Bhakti Tirtha Swami used to say, Maharaj used to say that he wouldn't give instructions to the disciples because he would say if they don't follow, they'll be offending, which means to be able to understand Guru's instruction also, we need some intelligence. We need to use our intelligence. Yeah. Because Guru's instructions are never contradicting Krishna's. Sometimes it may be a game of Krishna to help you figure out, use your brain, use your emotions, be more humble. Sometimes Krishna doesn't want you to be clear. Okay, I worship Damodar and that's it. Krishna says, that's going to make you proud, my dear devotee. So I'm going to give you some confusion here so you'll remain humble. So Krishna is very expert at doing that.
Thank you so much for the answer. I think I saw 2 hands up. Are your doubts already cleared, or you still want to speak? Dr. Hassan and Mitravinda. Is Mitravinda still here? I think I saw your hands up.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. My humble respected obeisances. All glory to Gurudev, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, and all glory to all the assembly devotees. Yes, it's a very, very wonderful class, and I want to thank Mataji for this words of inspiration. It was full of energy and full of transcendental. So thank you so much. And I think the question I wanted to ask was what His Grace Govinda does ask. So I'm satisfied with the answer. Yes, so because I was having this doubts last week Friday during the class. Yeah, I still have more to ask, but Sahadev, Your Grace Sahadev, I'll ask you personally.
Well, Hare Krishna, sometimes if Radha Govinda Devi has a little more time to spend with us, I think it will be ideal to ask her also, because sometimes our questions opens the door for other people also. Yeah.
I mean, if you like about you mean specifically about the prayer, right?
Yes, it was the class the mother gave last Friday concerning about if you surrender to the spiritual master, sometimes there's certain things which is he was explaining more like you have your own life and you have your feelings and so on. But in the scriptures, the spiritual master represents Krishna, and you have to surrender totally to the spiritual master, and you don't have to argue with him. You have to take the instruction from him. So how is it possible for a devotee to go against the words of spiritual master? Because if the spiritual master says you have to do this, that is what you have to do. Because if you don't do it, then that means how can you be surrendered to him?
It depends. It depends on what the instruction is. It depends on your mood. I mean, what comes to my mind is, I don't want to give you weird ideas here, but I'm just quoting and trying to understand from a context that is open. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was given a very clear instruction by his Guru Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who told him, never go to Kolkata. Okay? And after he got initiation, the first thing he did is he went to Kolkata. Okay, so the point is a good disciple actually understands the parampara, the mood of the guru in the right way. They're not going to misunderstand. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his physical body stepped in Kolkata, but he didn't go to Kolkata in the sense of he didn't go there to take association. He didn't go like how we would go. You understand? So, of course, that's great devotees like that. But sometimes you can have a communication. Your spiritual master is a human being. He may not have enough information. He may represent Krishna, but that doesn't mean that he's all cognizant. He knows exactly the argument you had with your wife or what exactly happened between you and the temple president, and he's not able to exactly tell you. Usually, don't give trouble to your spiritual masters. That's what I would say. Don't go to them and ask them some weird questions for which their answers might be whatever, unfavorable to you. That's why I was saying the Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj used to say that he doesn't give instructions or like, tell people do this, do that, because if they don't do it, they're actually offending the spiritual master. So, look, we have a history within our Hare Krishna movement, in our ISKCON organization, that gurus had their own troubles. Okay, they had troubles of the mind, they had troubles of the senses, we had fall downs, we had people leaving, people having philosophical issues. Okay, so this is the fact. The fact is not that the gurus will never make a mistake. But the point is, as long as you are connected to the instructions of the spiritual master with the goal of pleasing Krishna, as long as the guru is in good standing, as long as you are willing to surrender to Krishna through the guru, you're safe. But if you separate guru and Krishna, you're in big trouble. But not in the way that, there are so many abuses, so many strange things also that happens. Like, one of my students, she was abused by one of the Shiksha gurus Shiksha, Diksha guru, whatever. So she had a bad experience when she was growing up, right? And now she has trouble in accepting authority, in accepting guru. She has severe trauma. So the point is not that you have to take. Yes, Guru and Krishna are absolute, but you have to understand that Guru is absolute in connection to Krishna, not separate from Krishna. You understand? Guru represents Krishna means as long as they're speaking from the scriptures, as long as they're able to be vulnerable about the facts they know and they don't. So it's not black and white. But yes, Guru is supposed to tell you, Guru means being heavy, hard, tell you the truth. If you're doing nonsense, of course the Guru's duty is to tell you, don't do nonsense. And if you still want to do it, who is the loser? Not the Guru, you are the loser. So we need to have that discrimination to see if Guru will like Krishna. It's not that Guru wants you to suffer. It's not that, when I was brahmachari, I was suffering so much and I want to see you equally suffer. Obviously, that's not the goal of our gurus, right? They want us to progress. They want us to be happy. So their instructions are meant for our protection. Same like Krishna. Krishna wants to protect us. He doesn't want to harm us. We're going to put our hand in the fire, he's going to stop us. Same thing, if Guru sees that we want to divorce left and right, we don't want to care, and the Guru says, don't do that, you may want to give it a thought. You may want to think 10 times before we do that. If the Guru says, don't move to that country, don't invest in these things, it may not be good, it may be good for you to think. But if the Guru is having some separate agenda, they want you to do what they want because they may not be really wishing you well. They want you to be part of their project. They don't want you to go to another project. They want you to marry the girl they want, because then those are things that you have to use your discrimination, use your common sense.
Yeah.
So it's not black and white, okay? But yes, Gurus, if he repeats from scriptures and tells you, don't be attached to bodily concept of life, be kind to everybody, those are the things that you need to take it because it's connected directly to Krishna and Bhagavatam. But other personal things, you need to have a communication. You need to have a conversation. Treat them like human. Don't treat them as some all-cognizant demigod. Actually, we have Guru Maharaj here. Bhaktidev Damodar Maharaj is there, right? Who is? I can't see who that is, sorry. We have
He is not here.
Yeah, it is him?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Well, thank you so much, Radha Govinda Devi. I don't know. I'm nobody, but if I were to grade your lectures, especially your answers to questions, I'll give you 101% because they are all so beautiful. Because the class that Dr. Hassan was referring to, the devotee who spoke was saying that we may surrender to the spiritual master, but we should not lose our individuality. In other words, even though we are surrendered to the spiritual master, but that does not mean that we give up our individual intelligence. After all, we see in the Bhagavad Gita, after Arjuna had gotten to know the real position of Krishna, Arjuna still asked questions. When Krishna would ask Arjuna, do this, do that, Arjuna would ask him questions, says, why do you want me to do this? Because I don't think it's scripture to say this, that. So I think Srila Prabhupada actually wants us to be intelligent, where we can use our intelligence to ask questions and come to a point to know what is to be done. Like, we do not become like robots that whatever we are told, we just do them. You know, the gurus themselves also want us to use our intelligence, because they're not going to be with us all the time. You know, there will come a time they will be without us, and we have to grow up to mature to the level that we can continue what the gurus have taught us. So thank you for the answer.
Balance, it's a balance. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So,
I put my email and website. If you want to subscribe, sometimes I may do prayer workshop. I'm doing some ladies workshop on prayer, how to pray. If you subscribe to my thing, then we can send you notifications when the prayer seminars will be out.
all right. Thank you for saying that. Let me explain a little bit about Srimad Radha Govinda Devi. Like I was trying to say in the intro, she does lots of public preachings and outreach. She is an astrologer. She's a palmist, and she is also a counselor in so many fronts. So I think it is very beautiful that she's sharing with us her website and email address, so that in case anybody may have a question in regards to astrological issues. I was going to say, when you were making the house analogy, because I'm so much eager in getting a house, I was going to say, yeah, I'm selling the house. And then when I came to understand where the analogy was going, I said, no. So please, you may copy the information in the chat room here, the website and the email address. Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else with any questions, comment before we let Mother go, because it's a little late her time.
Yeah. When you're saying she is this, she is that, and I say I'm also tired and sleepy because it's 10 p.m. here.
Yeah. I know. I'm putting that into consideration. So, dear devotees, if I guess we might have to say thank you and let Mother go. But we know before Mother goes, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant beautiful Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to Mataji's love, knowledge, and inspiration to today's Bhagavatam class. So, Jai. Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Kadesha, Kadesha, Rama
All glories to a great Devi Ki. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Hare
very
Krishna.
much.
Very well.